I was actually texting clients saying, hey, do you have 3 minutes for a call tomorrow? It said, it's Todd Bookspan, your favorite mortgage guy. Do you have 3 minutes for a market update tomorrow? And so this guy just picked up the phone and called. So that's Fritz, I'll answer it. 9-minute phone call because I wasn't trying to squeeze in 100 conversations today. But I was, able in it to actually ask for referrals. I was actually going to ask for business. You and I talked the other day about financial advisors. He's referring me to his financial advisor who he says is wonderful. So he's making that referral. He's referring me to an insurance person that I didn't ask for, but he's like, well, I might as well send you my insurance person. I actually got him to commit to talk to my insurance person. So he's going to be talking to my insurance person. So I got her a referral. And last but not least, I chatted with him about HELOCs, even though he's got great credit, doesn't need one, but I just let him know, hey, if it's something you hear about out there, there's lots of people who need that, and my team would love to help. And so I didn't ask for one thing, I asked for 3 things and really made a big push. And I think if you just have a few conversations like that a day, it's going to be really difficult for you not to grow your business in 2025.
Todd Bookspan, welcome to the show.
Geoff, it is so exciting to hang out with you again.
I know, right? We do it more virtually than anything else, I think, these days, but that's okay. That's about to change. Hopefully for the people listening, we'll tell them more about that in a moment. Listen, we don't need to tell anybody who's Todd Bookspan, what's he all about, WinByNoon, mortgage coach community, all that stuff. Like, people should know you by now. So what I want to do is use our time wisely, because you spend a lot of time both obviously still originating, built a hell of a business as a mortgage originator. I would say one of the top production volumes in the country, still tied into the business. What did you say you did secretly during COVID? How many refis?
I secretly did almost 700 loans total, and it was probably 100 plus purchases, but mainly refis. And so I don't technically originate anymore, but I do business development for the team, and I talk to typically 10 real estate agents a day minimum. And so I find that I tend to, for someone who's not actually originating loans, I tend to actually be doing the things that loan officers should be doing more than they're doing them themselves.
You're more active as a non-originator than most originators.
Well, I think it's really important to lead by example. And if I'm going to get on to a conversation like this and really talk about what I know, I think what's old is new again. I don't necessarily think that everything, stuff that was good 10 years ago and 5 years ago and 15 years is still good today, but it's a changing market. And so I like to stay in contact with real estate agents and understand what's going on in their world.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a moment, for you listening, you're going to find out about the most influential event in the mortgage and real estate industry. That's part of the reason why I wanted to bring this conversation to you here today. But I wanted to open this up with this conversation around, you said what's old is new again. And have we gotten amnesia in terms of the skills? We're in this new market, air quotes. It's just a different market, perhaps. What are the strategies? What are the skills? Have we gotten amnesia? Like, what are you seeing that's working?
I think working is working. And, I always try not to be a jerk, Geoff. I mean, it's really one of the biggest challenges I have, because I find that oftentimes when I talk to loan officers, they tell me what their goal is for the year. And I say, oh, that's awesome. And then I say, well, what is it going to take to get there? And then the whole conversation goes off the rails there. And so what I think is a loan officer should understand, first off, what is it going to take from just a result side? Like, how many, what is your conversion rate? How many applications to closings? How many leads to an application? And understand those numbers first. And then you need to understand what are the activities, how many calls do you have to make, how many people do you have to talk to, meet with, in order then to get the leads, in order to get the apps, in order to get the closings. And I think it's just a math equation if you take the time to be really disciplined around that, and then just show up in the day and do that number, whatever that's going to take to get you there. If that's going to be 5 phone calls, 10 phone calls, 20 phone calls, whatever it is. But if not, you're just kind of waking up and guessing. And so I feel like oftentimes when I talk to loan officers, they just don't have a discipline around their time and schedule. And if you actually just treat it like a profession, not just a job, right? When I worked at a bicycle store in high school, I had to be there at a certain time and I had to work till a certain time. And I don't necessarily know that loan officers have that discipline. But in the end, if I get off of that soapbox and you say what's working is having conversations with people who can refer you business. What's working is having conversations with your database who, even though they've got a super low rate, or even though they may have a high rate and you can't refinance them yet, still would love to hear from you. And that's the part that's still the same. And then I think you add on here all the stuff that you teach, right? How do you get in front of real estate agents and teach classes and, learn about AI and all the other things that can help you be more efficient? All that stuff is going to be super important as well.
I think that's great because you simplified, and it comes down to, the fundamentals. And there's a lot of different conversations that roll through my head in these type of, just kind of off the cuff conversations you and I have, because there's different narratives out there in the industry, in the world, of course, but in specific to our industry. I was talking to somebody the other day, I can't remember who it was. And, he was basically pushing back on the concept of fundamentals. And like I have on my whiteboard, literally it's been here for a year, be brilliant in the basics. Is that enough today? I guess is the question.
I think it is if you're doing them, right? And then I think if you sprinkle in the other stuff that, we all know we should be doing, in social media, and we sprinkle in, learning the technology to be more efficient and effective in what we do on a daily basis. But in the end, if you're not doing the fundamentals and the boring stuff, then I think it's going to be really difficult to have a big business going forward. I mean, I can pat myself on the back all I want for, wheeling the wheelbarrow around during COVID and having loans fall down into it. Really the fact is I did a great job when I used to do loans. And so those people wanted to do loans with me again, right? My team kept in touch with them and did all that. I did an annual financial review today. It wasn't intentional, but it happened and it was great. So, I took the opportunity to catch up with the client. It was a 9-minute phone call, by the way. And I was trying to set up a 3-minute phone call with him tomorrow. This, by the time this airs, it'll be the day after, but Dave Savage and I are doing a 100 conversation where we ask for a referral day. And so again, you have to do the work before the work. And so I went through and, secretly I had my assistant doing it, but texting clients saying, hey, do you have 3 minutes for a call tomorrow? It said, it's Todd Bookspan, your favorite mortgage guy. Do you have 3 minutes for a market update tomorrow? And so this guy just picked up the phone and called. So that's Fritz, I'll answer it. 9-minute phone call because I wasn't trying to squeeze in 100 conversations today. Right. But I was, able in it to actually ask for referrals. I was actually going to ask for business. You and I talked the other day about financial advisors. He's referring me to his financial advisor who he says is wonderful. So he's making that referral. He's referring me to an insurance person that I didn't ask for, but he's like, well, I might as well send you my insurance person. I actually got him to commit to talk to my insurance person. So he's going to be talking to my insurance person. So I got her a referral. And last but not least, I chatted with him about HELOCs, even though he's got great credit and doesn't need one, but I just let him know, hey, if it's something you hear about out there, there's lots of people who need that, and my team would love to help. And so I didn't ask for one thing, I asked for 3 things and really made a big push. And I think if you just have a few conversations like that a day, it's going to be really difficult for you not to grow your business in 2025.
What was the time lapse or time gap between conversations with that particular person?
He got his house back in the middle of 2022. So, okay. And he may or may not have been on the list. My memory's not the best, but I did 50 annual financial reviews personally last year to keep in touch with the database and, again, get a pulse on the market. My team did most of them, but I don't remember that I spoke to him last year. But, I think it's one of those things where you have those clients who know you, love you, and want to hear from you. You have those clients who are like, all right, maybe I'll talk to Todd. And then there's going to be 1 or 2 who are like, yeah, whatever. No, thanks. Not interested. Right. And that's fine too.
So that was obviously a client that you had some rapport with. You probably something in your memory stuck out. Great person to work with. Probably something about it. Put him in that A category. How did you? I'm curious with this kind of 100 call blitz. How did you open the conversation? Was it based on that context, or give us the quick setup if you don't mind?
Well, I laugh because, like I say, he called me, right? So I'm trying to set this up because I'm competing against Dave, right? So, if I literally show you my planner for tomorrow, I literally have my calendar's blocked. These are all the boxes for all the people I call. I had to make more of them, and then I've got over here, I've got 101. These are all there's columns, and so it's got the left column is going to be for who I talked to, and the right is going to be for the referral I gave or got. So I'm ready to go. I'm gonna keep track of all this stuff, and I'm gonna do everything I can do before my wife says you have to quit working tomorrow night to get this done. And so the quick setup was, I said, oh my gosh, I said, hey, what's going on? He's like, oh, I just got your text. I just figured I'd call you. I said, awesome. I said, hey, just as it said, I said, I want to just take 3 minutes to update you on what's going on in the market. I've got a lot of clients who seem very concerned now that the election's going on to know what's going on with interest rates, housing, and the economy. What do you understand about what's going on? Right? Little exactly what to say pitch. And he's like, I don't understand much. I'm like, awesome. And so then I just walked him through what's going on in rates and the housing and the economy. And then went into my pitch. And we talked a little bit about, his wife is doing well. And, we talked about that kind of stuff. And, the flooring in his house had a problem. And, so they had to go stay in a hotel for 2 weeks. And, I got all the other stuff in there too. That's why I went 9 minutes, because I'm
Sure.
not like, dude, I only got 3 minutes. Sorry.
Right.
You're going to take as much time as you have to, but as little as you need to in order
Right.
to crank through
Right.
those calls.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds very fruitful. And so far, rough estimate, where are you on the 100 race?
Well, my goal's not to talk to you until tomorrow. What I'm trying to do is, so when I did loans, and I've talked about this before, I stole it from Keith Collins, my contact card for my work phone. So again, they don't have that phone goes to my team, but I have a different phone number. It's on Ring Central. It's not my real phone. So clients can't actually call me on the cell phone that I carry in my pocket. And so I sent them, after I would talk to him, I would give him a, kind of like, hey, here's the rules of doing business with me. I'd say, hey, Geoff, as soon as we hang up, I'm going to text you my contact card so you can open it and save it to your phone. And you're going to eventually forget my name. So just next time you need someone, just type in mortgage and you'll see it in there because it says Todd Mortgage Guy Bookspan. And then when I'm done, I text them, thanks again for your time. Here's my contact card to open and save to your phone. So number one is I hope that they've all done that. And so when I'm texting them, it's not there. And really the reason I was prepping today is because I want to have a higher likelihood that people don't think I'm calling to waste their time, right? An annual financial review could take 30 to 45 minutes. And I was like, hey, I just want 3 minutes of your time. And so I'm trying to preface it for the client. One, even the ones who don't respond. So I probably have, if I look at it, there's already 15 or 20 people who have responded and said, yep, let's talk tomorrow, anytime. One person said, I can't do it. One person said, no, thanks. So again, I don't get offended by that kind of stuff. The guy who can't do it wants to do it next week when his wife is available. But I've already got some of those that are in there, in time. So, there's actually in the context here that you can see there's people I've already scheduled in with a time to call.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I'm gunning to do it. I'm a competitive guy. I want to actually make sure I do it. My business partner did this about 2 weeks ago. He got 65 conversations in. One took 30 minutes. I'm like, man, if I have 30-minute phone calls, which I'm pretty good at talking, you all figured that out by now, then I'm going to be sunk. And so my goal is to not tell people, hey, I'm trying to crank out 100 conversations. Dave and I are calling it the Impact 100. We're trying to impact 100 people and ask for referrals. It's not text referrals. It's not DM referrals. This is actually a phone call. So I'm just priming the pumps with the text. So even the people who didn't respond will say, oh, Todd's just calling me for 3 minutes. And
Yeah.
so that was my goal with the prep today.
I love the framing of that, man, because it really makes it clear that, okay, this isn't, if I'm your client, right? It's like, oh, cool. Not a huge time commitment, assuming I'm in that A category of like, I like Todd and all that kind of jazz. Beautiful setup. I'm curious, do you also, or have you been sending over time historically, like a newsletter to your database?
We've been pretty terrible at that. The biggest thing that we've done, which a lot of people have done, is HomeBot. So if you've got one of those types of things, I mean, that's great. He told me he's still getting that.
Yeah.
And so that, from that perspective, that's
Basically a
really,
newsletter.
that's really good. I don't know that you need to do more than that. We normally, like, I invited I'm teaching, I mentioned to you, the first home IQ. They have 10 weeks of content for high schoolers and college students. So I'm doing that right now, virtually. And so I invited my whole database to that. So I try not to overshoot them information, but I feel like, if I'm offering something that's of value, then they're going to open it up and read it.
So it sounds like, back to my original question, air quotes, we need new strategies. Do we, what I meant, I'm sure you got it by that comment about amnesia. Do we have amnesia? Is, COVID really kind of like put us all under the ether of like business just drops from the sky, like manna, But I think a lot of us, I don't know, some people I think are a little bit slow to the pivot of like, we need to do exactly what you just described, which is create opportunities. And this is one great example.
Well, and I appreciate it. I'm excited for it. I still love talking to people,
Yeah.
and I love a challenge. And I did a couple years ago, I did 100 calls in a day, and that took a
Wow.
long time. But I only talked to like 55 people. So
Sure.
I'm a little petrified. Don't get me wrong. And I'm really optimistic that I'll be able to crush it. So, if you answered my phone call, whoever is watching this, and I happen to call you as a loan officer, thank you in advance. I appreciate that.
How many hours do you think this will take you to get through it?
I think when my business partner did it, he did it with about 30 other people. Shayla Gifford was running a group, and he took 13 and a half hours. I heard some people did like 14 to 16 hours. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to work out. I'm going to come home and I'll start dialing. I'm going to I'm trying to round up some loan officers in Texas who want to refer business to our insurance company. And so I'll call those folks first. So, I won't only be calling clients. I'll also be calling real estate agents in there as well. And so I'll get an early start. But for me, I've got a hook from the family that, I probably got to be done by 6. So I guess I'll be dialing for whatever 7:30-ish is to 6.
Are you trying to get all 100 in one day?
100 in one day. That's the goal. 100 conversations in one day. Cause I can do 50 in a week. I mean, I do that all the time, but this is really different. And it's, you got to be planned. Like I've already thought out the chili that I'm going to have for lunch, right? I'm thinking through it all, right? I've already got the call list of the real estate agents. I mean, cause if you just show up and you're not prepared, you're not going to win. And so I think that's just a lot of it is we want it to be easy, and it's just not easy right now.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm no different than everyone else. I mean, I don't want to have to work that hard, but
Sure.
in the end, I feel a commitment, right? I feel a commitment to the clients that we served in the past to keep them informed. I feel a commitment to my team to help them generate these leads and do that. And I feel my commitment to Dave and the community so I can show them I can do it. And you know what? If I crash and burn, I mean, Dave and I'll do a call on it. At some point we'll talk about it and see how we did. And, I'm excited. I'm excited and I'm terrified at the same time, but I'll be rolling.
Well, if anything, the one takeaway from this is you don't even have to do 100 calls in a day. Like how many people listening, I know you know this very well, how many people like to do have 100 conversations in a week would be a world record,
Absolutely. And the hard part is I suck at asking for referrals. And so in this one, I'm doing that. I'm using the Phil Jones, hey, could you do me a favor? Line. And so that way I feel like I've got a little bit of reciprocity by that point in the conversation. And I know most people, my business partner, he was asking for, like kind of leads, like referral kind of leads, but I think there's other opportunities in the marketplace. And so, it's not about me. I'm trying to get other people some referrals as well. And I think it'll be fun. And I think if you're listening to this and that sounds interesting to you, reach out to Dave and I. I mean, you take a look at it. Dave and I will probably take a break. He thinks we should do a Facebook Live during the day. I'm like, Dave, I'm not going to have time for that. But, he's prepping the world. He's going to make a post telling people that he's doing it. So answer his phone call. And I'm like, ooh, I'm not people. I'm going in cold. They just know I'm calling for 3 minutes.
Just get out there and make it happen. I love that. This is just one takeaway, one idea. I know you've got tons more of ideas. And so what I want to do right now is talk about if anybody's listening right now and you got value from this one idea, imagine spending an entire day, right, with people that are at the highest level of production, of productivity, and results in any market. And that's why I want to talk about this event that, you and Dave have been putting on for how many years now?
This is our 6th year. Yeah, we started in 2020, so that makes it the 6th year. And, it's been kind of fun, right? First few years were just virtual only, and now we're virtual and live in person.
Yeah. And so I've been, I think 3 times. It's the Modern Mortgage Summit and the Modern Real Estate Summit. It's 2 events in one day. It's live in Las Vegas, but you can attend in person or virtual. It's on Thursday, March 6th. We're going to link up everything in the show notes for you to go ahead and grab yourself either a virtual or in-person ticket. But I can tell you, it's kind of like, when the best of, I don't want to equate it to, you think about an awards show, right? An award show where somebody shows up and you got the best of the best that are walking across the stage and spending, break it down for me. They got like a 10-minute session or something to give you the best, right?
Yeah, so what we've got about a dozen, speakers in the mortgage space. So we try to have about half who you've seen before, right? Mm-hmm. The Denise Donahues, the Jeremy Forciers, the Shayla Giffords. And then we try to bring back some people who either haven't been on for a while or that are kind of new to you. So we've got like JJ Mazzo on the stage for the first time, wow. Socia Avila on the stage for the first time. James Allen is a big producer, so we've got some kind of new blood up there as well. And so they literally will start at 8 a.m. Pacific, virtual, right? So you just go to modernmortgagesummit.com. You can pick up a ticket. You might be lucky enough that your company has bought tickets because that's how we sell most of the tickets. We normally have about 6,000 people that are on watching. And so it's a lot of fun. And it starts at 8 o'clock sharp. Dave and I do a quick intro, and then it's 15 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. Speaker, speaker, speaker. And their whole idea is to show up with an idea that's executable by you. And it's kind of weird because it always works out magically, but we don't ever tell anyone what to talk about. We want someone to get on there and talk about what they're super passionate about. And so that goes from 8 to noon sharp. And then since we're live in studio, right, there's about 50 tickets that we sell for people to show up live. And so literally you sit in these leather chairs in this fancy studio in Las Vegas, and you're sitting next to all the speakers. And so people kind of dig that part of it. And then we break for lunch. So we have a live lunch in the studio, and that's when you're going to have lunch and fuel yourself. And then at 1 p.m. Pacific, we have about a 2.5-hour modern real estate summit. And so you buy one ticket, you get real estate and you get mortgage. We've got like Ken De Leon, he's the #1 buyer's agent in America. He's going to do something. We've got Shannon Gillette, who's going to talk about Instagram. We had her on a couple years ago. She was really highly rated. She did YouTube back then. And so the Modern Real Estate Summit's designed, if you do it right, it was kind of fun. I always love it when somebody executes at a high level, right? I talk about these things and I never know who does what, but Deborah Bird and I just did an Exactly What to Say certification, and Memo Zazueta, I got to make sure I pronounce his name correctly. I loved it. He's been in the business for 6 years. And he's crushing it. He's actually had a busy year last year, busier than the year before. And I said, well, tell me some of the things that you did. He's like, well, Todd, I took your advice. He said, I filled up a conference room full of real estate agents, and we all watched the Modern Real Estate Summit together. And so the morning is for you to learn some tactics that hopefully will get you excited to implement to grow your business. And then the afternoon, you're going to sit there with your favorite real estate agents. It could be just you and one agent watching on your laptop. It could be you and 10 agents watching in your conference room. You could go to a title company. Every year we have a couple people who do it in a movie theater, which scares me, Geoff. My head 40 feet tall. I don't think that's a good sight. But it's a good opportunity. And so go back to my 100 calls, right? I mean, that's such an easy thing. If I thought about it till just now, I can tell you I'll probably add it to my list. I'll find out what my team is going to do. They'll probably host it. They do it every year with a title company. The title company puts it in their office. They buy the food. My team shows up, and it's an invitation to them. Hey, would you join me on March 6th in my office? Now, the other part is that you get the recording for at least 30 days when you buy a virtual ticket. And so you could also do it where you can't see it on the Thursday the 6th because you're like, oh, I'm out of town or whatever. And you could just do it the next week, and it doesn't have to be live. You could actually watch the recording of it. In fact, I was talking to a loan officer today up in Colorado, and I'm going to co-host it with her. We're going to actually do a virtual one on Zoom the next month, or maybe it'll be in person. Who knows? But we're doing it together, so that'll be kind of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. So once again, it is Modern Mortgage Summit. Go check it out. Whichever of the three options, live event, virtual ticket, or virtual 365, which is you get access to the recorded content for the entire year. But I agree with you, Todd. Leveraged opportunity. As you know, that's a lot of what I talk about is the one to many. And if you can put butts in seats and just get however many agents in a room, team up with your title affiliate and other people, show them this website. If they've got the room, like don't let an excuse get in the way of you accelerating your results. Just like you heard from Todd, whether you do the 100 call thing or you put half a dozen agents or so in a room and you be the host of that, you're going to get all the credit. Guaranteed you're going to get relationships and referrals out of that.
Well, you must have story after story of results of your coaching students who've come through your program and gotten your content and then gone out there and taught it, right? I mean, give a good example of that.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many, it's funny. I've been describing it, and this is perfect for what you guys are doing with the event as well. I don't know if this works. You tell me. So hosting a class or event is like the tip of a spear, or how do I combine these two metaphors? You think about decorating a Christmas tree, right? On the top is the angel, or what I'll call the event or the class. But then what else has to go on the Christmas tree? All those ornaments and the decorations and the accents. And what those are when you're hosting an event is, think about all the peripheral activities that spin off of that one event. Social media posts, phone calls, DMs, reaching out to partners and affiliates. And all of a sudden you've got this like beautiful, fully, dressed Christmas tree that looks amazing. But guess what? You can keep that up the whole year, right? Instead of having to take it down, because it actually continues to pay benefits, because now out of that one event, you've created this incredible goodwill experience that draws people to you. So yeah, I mean, I have an example just the other day from one example, Janelle, she's been a member with me, 4 years or whatever. Anyway, she had been doing classes over and over and over again. And she gets an email back from a realtor after the class that says, hey, I'm sorry I can't come to your class, but I'd love to talk. Can you grab a phone call? And she gets on the phone, and next thing you know, this realtor, whom, by the way, never met this realtor in person ever. Realtor has never come to an event ever. And says, hey, I have $1 million referral I'd like to send you.
Right, it's reciprocity, right? You're adding value to somebody else. So, I mean, right, you're right. I love the Christmas tree analogy. That was
Does
great,
that
Geoff.
one work?
I love it. If I ever use it, I'll give you credit.
Okay.
And we're all looking for reasons to overcome our own call reluctance, right? I'm no different than everybody else. I'm creating this event to overcome my call reluctance. And so, you have something to invite them to. You have something to call them afterwards to check on, to get feedback. Even
Yeah.
if they didn't show up, you still have the opportunity to call them and talk to them about it one-on-one. And, I feel like I said, even the people who ignore my text I sent them and ignore my phone call tomorrow, they still saw my name. It still said
Right.
Todd Mortgage Guy Bookspan when I phone them tomorrow. And it's still going to mean that the next time someone says mortgage, they're going to go, oh, let me look in my phone for that guy. I forgot his name, but it says mortgage in my phone, and my team will get the referral. And so I think it's just one of these pieces where, you know, you said, hey, what should people be doing? I mean, do the thing that gives you passion, do the thing that makes it easy. I just like the idea you got to put yourself in the path of opportunity.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really have enjoyed about us doing the Modern Mortgage and Modern Real Estate Summit, we used to run them as two events. We used to charge separately for them. We said, let's just combine them up, make it good. Proceeds go to First Home IQ. We partnered up with Kristen Messerly and the crew over there for the event. And so we're just really always fired up to give people something different, right? It just
Yeah.
to pop away for a day so that you can actually learn. And it's a little hard when people are virtual, because I know they're like, oh my gosh, my phone's ringing and my dog's barking and, all the things that can go on in the world. Or if they're in an office, their processor's knocking.
Yeah.
But I'm going to encourage you all, check it out. I think it's just a great opportunity. We continue to get amazing feedback year after year.
Hmm.
And I'm kind of excited. This is actually the most new speakers we've had in a long time.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan. Like I said, I think I've been there 3 times, and every time, you hand out these notebooks, and it's just like page after page after page of notes, and so it's like a fire hose of ideas. So if you're listening right now and you're curious, what do you do next? You take action. If there's one thing we've heard about Todd, it's about taking action, right? And so you go to the link in the show notes, or you go to modernmortgagesummit.com, choose which of the options is right for you. But I'm telling you, don't overlook the opportunity. Todd, you said the key thing, which is call reluctance. Now you have a, quote, reason to call real estate agents, buyer's agents you haven't talked to in 6 months, listing agents who you closed deals with in the last year or whatever. Doesn't matter. You're calling, extending the olive branch, and I guarantee that's a warm call, and it's going to go well. And let's say, half of the people show up, right? Well, fantastic, right? Now all of a sudden you've got in front of 5, 10 people that you wouldn't have gotten in front of, and more importantly, had a conversation you weren't going to have otherwise. So anything else you want to add?
No, man, I just love hanging out with you. So I appreciate you give me the opportunity to chat about it. And, I think you and I could probably talk for 6 more hours, but I think the people listening probably prefer we don't.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, you know what to do. We've already said it enough. Links in the show notes. Go check it out. Sign yourself up. Get your agents involved. Todd, always good to see you, man. We'll see you on the next one.